Greetings from the beautiful western coast of Saudi Arabia, Jeddah. Today I'll bring you my action research project and how it ended up turning out. My initial idea was to come up with some research-based interventions to help students with their writing. As I discovered through engaging in the action research project, this is a multi-step action research project. So my paper for us this time, and for the first bit of the action research, is to follow. I decided to focus on a science class within the IBDP program. To contextualize it, we have the IB program itself. This is the International Baccalaureate Organization's website, and within the site you can find the description of all three programs: little kids, middle kids, and big kids, and what the format, philosophy, and then also teacher support. Within the course that I've picked is in the DP, which is a 2-year course program, assessed by external exams at the end of the 2-year course. So this is a high stakes test that's 80% of their grade. All students across the world take the same test at the same time, give or take 6 hours depending on their location in the planet. The science courses are very writing dependent, which is why I picked a science. Language learners definitely struggle with this. In my local context, you are familiar with the idea now that I'm in Saudi Arabia, and the only co-educational institution in the kingdom presents its own interesting opportunities and challenges. Our method of helping our 60% of the population's that are language learners is with an inclusion model based upon CLIL. I've included the website to One Stop English, where James Kelly et al. Present their framework, resources, and research on content, classroom, language instruction. What did my students need for success? Well, I went to the IBO and copied here the description of the class that I'm looking at, which is Environmental Systems and Societies. The significant part for me would be within the last sentence, as the students need to evaluate scientific, ethical, and socio-political aspects of the issues. So it's not really a hard science, although some hard science is needed to, explain global warming and the soil erosions and all these other things that happen within the environmental systems. But it is more about perspectives, relationships, systems, and cause and effect. The linguistic expectations I discovered within this course, as I looked at exam papers, I interviewed students, I had classroom observations. Within the 4 modalities, we have the 2 receptive and 2 productive. The listening is mostly structured with instructor lectures, videos, and some peer presentations that the students would have to listen to and understand. The reading is heavy in this course. Course texts are extensive. We have a lab report requirement as well as website information, and then to the chase of the whole action, the larger action research, is the exam papers. For the productive language, all of our students have limited speaking requirements. They certainly do need to ask questions, be able to formulate those questions to clarify and consolidate their knowledge. There is some presentation requirements, but not many. And the bulk of the productive language is in the writing. Internal and external assessments. The external assessments I've already talked about. Internal assessments are what we call past exam papers. They're provided by the IBO, and they're basically what they say they are, and a very good practice for what the external assessments are. There will be lab reports and topic assignments where the instructor has asked the students to compare and contrast the food chain in different parts of the world or similar situations. As you can see, these are really language heavy and language intense requirements. When I talked to the instructor, he was worried that writing skill deficiencies were going to interfere with the students and their ability to express what they know. So that's where we started. I did look at the exam papers themselves, not the current exams, of course, nobody's seen those, but these past papers that I've referred to. We have a list of about 10 command terms and the expected writing products from them. So that would be describe, explain, define, compare and contrast, as well as justify. These writing pieces require compound, complex sentence structure. The verb usage within these, the tense is almost exclusively passive, which is kind of difficult to grasp, so I anticipate a lot of rewriting opportunities. Current research in second language writing is quite interesting, not too much within this part of the world, but there were a few, and I think some more of them that I can extrapolate and adapt. Braun, Van, and Escudero report that really we're blowing it as teachers when we have second language learners in our science classrooms and we ignore possible language instruction within that content, when those teachable moments, if you will. Mr. Akarya worked and did his study in Turkey, and he really came to the conclusion that we really do need to classify the types of errors. That really helps us identify first language interference, past academic experience, areas of deficiency, and therefore form our intervention instruction more coherently and effectively. Coyle-Hood and Marsh have authored a book called Content and Language Integrated Learning. This is the benchmark and foundation of content language instruction. What I discovered during my analysis, the text analysis of the course books, I did use LexTutor, and at first it was indeed very confounding, but once I took the time and navigated within this website, it's really, really quite helpful. I did an analysis of one lab report and where the students are missing their points. Here's a screenshot from part of the analysis on one particular piece of text. As you can see, it's done through vocab profilers English. They do profile other languages as well. Here we have the different word lists, families, types, tokens, and a percentage, a really nice breakdown of the content in that piece of text that I typed in. Over here on the right side we have some more analysis of the words in the text, and then here within the on list ones we have families, tokens per family, and then this part is kind of interesting where we have a breakdown between Anglo-Saxon derivatives and Greek, Latin, French cognate derivatives, meaning that some of those would be easier to grasp than others. An important part I forgot to mention my first time over here in the left column, so I'll go back, is this delineation between function and content words. This is important, of course, for instruction. Here is on that same page that we get from the analysis. You get this coded colored analysis based on those different word lists. So back here quickly you can see these are the first 2,000 words in blue and green, the AWL, and then off word lists. This helps with identification and ease in lesson preparation and focus. Off word list items do not appear in larger academic corpus, so I believe that these require some attention because of their lack of exposure. The yellow words are the academic corpus, and the blue and green were really very helpful. The Anglo-Saxon origin words were easier to derive for this group of students, which is a group of 13. In the student writing analysis, I categorized errors into the following groups. Within the two different word choice categories, simple meant a function word, thereby was used incorrectly, or henceforth, or whatever, or a word form. So, for example, if someone used continuation instead of continuing, that would be this kind of error. In the word choice complex, I decided to use that as just a total meaning. They blew it. I had a total of 452 words in this one lab report sample. Not a great big sample, I agree, but at least it was a start and a first exercise in doing the counting and deciding what kind of errors they were. I was very surprised at this outcome, and you can see here that the article usage was really high, second highest in errors. I think this might be language 1 interference, and maybe not as significant as the table would have you believe just by looking at it. I expected clause and run-on to be a problem, but I really expected complex word choice to be higher in occurrence than simple word choice, and I was incorrect in that prediction. This project presented some very interesting hurdles. One of the biggest ones was breaking down the whole project into workable pieces. I really want to get to the chase. I want to design the intervention to provide instruction to help the students with their writing, but in order to do that we have to have these bases done first. When I figured that part out and then continued on with the research, I think I will have a strong project next year. Administrative support is always a challenge. Got lots of really fun lip service to the idea of the project and the results. When it came down to the meat of supporting it, it was a little more difficult. My cooperating teacher, while a wonderful teacher, is himself unsure about the SLA content and instructional methods, and this somehow made him a little bit nervous about the whole project, feeling like he was missing something in his professionalism, when indeed it was just me joining in with his professionalism to make a stronger team. I did a brief student survey which supported my idea that the written material was the more difficult bit of the material. 92% of the students said they preferred the input from teacher instruction. So what that led me to believe is that the written input is really difficult for the students. Here are my next steps that I would like to embark on this summer and then next year. More writing samples. I'd like to re-examine my error categories. I think I might be able to delineate those more efficiently, and then design my instruction. My references for you, and then the discussion questions. Hopefully you have had a great semester. I've had a great time working with all of you, and thank you for your time.